This is the worst scene in Star Wars. Today I will be covering not only that, but also the biggest plot holes in all of Star Wars. So now, let's get into it. Luke Skywalker, Jedi legend, who saw a few bad dreams and said, "Time to kill my nephew." Yes, that's the same guy who threw down his lightsaber in front of Palpatine.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Now, he's like, I am a Jedi, And Han Solo, our rebellious hero, he gets old and goes, "Well, time to ditch my wife, my kid, and go back to smuggling like the last 30 years didn't even happen." Even Harrison Ford hated Han Solo's character development so much, he said, "Please, I hate Han Solo. Kill me off, please." Now, we get to the Sith knife, TM. An ancient blade that works like a Sith-themed metal protractor if you happen to stand in the 1 pixel of beach where it aligns with the Death Star wreckage. So the Sith either built a knife after the Death Star exploded and somehow kept it secret for 30 years in perfect condition, or built it before the Death Star exploded and could predict the exact way a moon-sized space station would fall apart in the ocean. Sith, masters of the dark side, death, and 3D demolition modeling. But here's the weird part. If they knew it would explode, why didn't they leave a sticky note in the Sith temple like, "Hey Sheev, don't build a Death Star. Kinda fragile." And if these guys can predict the future, why couldn't they predict that their empire was gonna flop twice? Maul gets diced like a watermelon. Dooku gets double lightsabered. Vader, back problems, family issues, and eats his boss into a pit. If they were so wise, maybe someone should have force Googled how not to get betrayed by your apprentice. And then Palpatine comes back. No explanation, no build-up, just
How Palpatine returned.
That's not a plot twist, that's a tweet. "I sacrificed myself to bring balance to the Force." But then Disney says, that's cute. Anyway, Palpatine's alive. What even is canon anymore? Then, the one of 10,000 climaxes, no, not climaxes, just tweets, that are in this movie, Rey holds it up and boom! She's standing in the perfect spot to match the blade to the wreckage. No GPS, no force ping, just vibes. It's like she speedran a hidden object game on expert mode. What if she tripped and fell 5 feet to the left? Knife says nothing, galaxy stays doomed. Rey ends it all by calling herself Rey Skywalker. She trained with Leia and Organa, kissed Kylo a solo, and being the granddaughter of Sheev frickin' Palpatine. So okay, I guess if I help one firefighter, I get to call myself Leo Fireman. Star Wars is awesome, but this knife plot is more force unstable than Starkiller in a boss fight. I love this galaxy. I just wish it loved logic. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and specifically why I think it doesn't just fail on its own, but also why it actively damages Star Wars as a whole. Now, I'm not saying there aren't moments I enjoy, or that people are wrong for liking them. If you love the movies, good for you. But for me, they represent some of the weakest storytelling choices in Star Wars history. And over the next few moments, I'll explain exactly why. One of the biggest problems with the sequel trilogy is how they completely undermine the original trilogy. The original trilogy builds up to this incredible climax. Vader redeems himself, Palpatine is destroyed, and the Empire falls. It's one of the most satisfying endings in cinematic history. But the sequels, they undo all of that almost instantly. 30 years later, the First Order is basically just the Empire 2.0, already in full power, with stormtroopers, star destroyers, and the same vibe all over again. Now, let me be clear. I do not mind the idea of evil coming back. The idea that no Sith would ever come back is absurd. The galaxy is huge, and power-hungry people will always rise up eventually. Saying the Sith or an Empire could never return is unrealistic. But the problem is how fast it all comes back. 30 years in galactic terms is nothing. It makes the Rebels' victory feel hollow, like they fought and died for almost no lasting impact. Vader's sacrifice, which was supposed to end the Sith and bring peace, just feels cheapened. And that brings me to the Chosen One prophecy. In the prequels, we're told Anakin is the Chosen One who will bring balance to the Force. And in Return of the Jedi, that's exactly what happens. He kills Palpatine, destroys the Sith, and redeems himself. His story comes amazingly full circle. But then, in Episode 9, Palpatine just comes back. Out of nowhere. Suddenly, he's been alive this whole time, pulling strings in the background. And if that's the case, then Anakin didn't fulfill the prophecy at all. He didn't destroy the Sith. He didn't bring balance. He just temporarily inconvenienced Palpatine. It completely erases the meaning of his arc. And honestly, it's not just bad for Anakin, it's bad for Luke, Leia, everyone. It makes the original trilogy just feel like a part 1 to a story that the sequels didn't even bother to finish properly. And while we're on the subject of undermining the original trilogy, let's talk about the New Republic. After all the sacrifice, all the fighting, all the work it took to take down the Empire, the New Republic is supposed to be the payoff. The good guys win. They set up a government, and the galaxy finally has peace. But in the sequels, the New Republic is basically a joke. It's reduced to one main planet, Hosnian Prime, and then it's gone. One planet destroyed, and suddenly the Republic is completely wiped out. That makes no sense in a galaxy this massive. The rebellion spent decades fighting to restore freedom, and all of it collapses in a matter of seconds. It's lazy writing, and it makes the entire post-Return of the Jedi era feel empty. Also, did I mention how unclear it was that the Republic was gone? I had no idea the first time I watched it, and I only found out a couple years later when I looked up what happened to the Republic in the sequels. It was just terrible writing and storytelling. They didn't even tell us properly. And not only does the New Republic collapse instantly, but the First Order rises to full strength almost overnight. Unlike the prequels, which sets up how the Separatists came to power, the sequels just completely ignores that. Somehow, they had the resources, armies, and fleets to rival the Empire, and no one noticed? No resistance, no pushback, no balancing power. That's ridiculous. Empires don't appear out of nowhere at full strength. It took Palpatine years of manipulation, political maneuvering, and total control of the Republic to form his empire. But the sequels skip all of that build-up and just hand us an empire, copy-paste, bigger and scarier than before. It's absurd, and it completely cheapens the struggles of the original trilogy. Now here is when it gets even messier. One of the best things that Disney Star Wars has made is Andor. It's grounded, it's mature, and it shows the gritty side of our galaxy. But because of how good Andor is, it makes the sequels look way worse. In Andor, we see just how much effort it takes to build one Death Star. The Empire has to enslave thousands of people, funnel endless resources, and cover it up with insane secrecy. That's what makes it so powerful. It's believable. But then, in the sequels, we suddenly get thousands of planet-killing Star Destroyers. Not 1, not 10, not 100, thousands, all fully armed, all hidden away somehow, all waiting to be unleashed. That's not just unrealistic, it's absurd. It breaks the internal logic of Star Wars. How could the galaxy hide something like that? How could they build it without anyone noticing? And again, Disney did this to themselves because Andor shows the reality, and then the sequels throw it in the trash with cartoon logic. So when you put it all together, the sequels don't just have bad writing choices. They actively damage the rest of Star Wars. They undermine Vader's redemption. They erase the meaning of the Chosen One's prophecy. They make the original trilogy feel pointless. They make the New Republic look pathetic. They make the First Order's rise totally unbelievable. And they even contradict Disney's own shows like Andor. At the end of the day, the sequels could have been an opportunity to take Star Wars into a bold new territory. Instead, they played it safe, rehashing old ideas, and in the process weakened the very foundation of the saga. The galaxy isn't ruined, but the sequels sure tried their best.